Coming up on Safety and Awareness Today.
We're going to talk with Lieutenant Wayne Manilescu about the importance of a SWAT team.
When the situation calls for more manpower than the police can handle by themselves, they call the SWAT team.
This is Daniel Nettie. He's 11 years old. And Daniel, you like dirt biking.
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do.
Safety and Awareness Today, brought to you in part by Doctor Uniforms, more than just medical.
Right now, we're going to talk with Lieutenant Wayne Manilescu about the importance of a SWAT team.
We have our team in Utica. We're partnered with New Hartford, and the purpose of our team mainly is to execute high-risk search warrants, drug warrants, whenever there's a gun involved, dignitary protection, like when we had the vice president come down, and anytime the police need help. When the situation calls for more manpower than the police can handle by themselves, they call the SWAT team.
All right.
And we'll call our guys in New Hartford in.
Literally that phrase, I've heard it before, and that is that when people need help, they call the police, and when the police need help, they call the SWAT team.
That's about it.
So basically, we're looking at men and women that train above and beyond the average police officer and put themselves in a situation to try to execute on a higher level of skill and safety law enforcement.
Yes. We have the gear for it. We have the training for it. As you can see out today, we're going to be out shooting. We have extra training every month to come out, and these guys are at the top of the game, physically and mentally. Mentally,
good. And mentally is a big part of this.
Yes, absolutely.
It really is when you're going into a house, when you're doing that. And you have a PT, a physical training process that they have to pass to get onto the team.
Yes.
All right. Now you're wearing one of the vests. Is this one of the normal vests that they wear?
Yep. This is we were issued these probably about 5 years ago. It's a level 3 vest. It'll stop a little bit more caliber round than our normal vest that we wear. Normal cop wears on the street.
Yep.
You can see it's a little heavier. Also, it's Velcro on it. It allows us to get our little gadgets and little tools that we need.
Extra pockets in different places.
Yes.
All right. Now, regarding the SWAT team, what's a kind of a situation that you train for and you anticipate?
Our biggest ones is going into a house knowing that somebody inside may have a handgun aimed at us, aimed at the police going into the front door. And we know the threat's there. It happened to us last month. We had somebody shoot at us, but going in that door, we are in the mindset that somebody in there has a gun and they want to shoot at the police.
Yep, and you've got to do something, because if they're going to shoot the police, they'll shoot anybody. So there's a lot of people in danger at that point. Now, how many years have you been on the...
I've been in Utica for 14 years on the job. I've been on the SWAT team for about 7 years.
7 years. You like it?
I love it.
A tight crew?
Yeah, very tight.
Yeah,
tight.
It's really interesting. I got to chat with them for a little while. They seem like a really nice bunch of men and women.
Yes.
Now, we have SWAT teams in local communities around our area. I think New Hartford has one. New Hartford's linked with you.
New Hartford's with us.
All right.
I know Herkimer has one. They're actually out here training with us today. They come out and train with us once in a while. Sheriff's Department has one. Rome has one. We've trained with all of them before and done actual jobs with them, raids with them. And the state police actually have their own team.
That's excellent. Excellent. Now, one of the things that I've mentioned regarding the SWAT team is a familiarity with buildings. Do any of the large companies, do any of the schools, I mean, are they starting to take an interest to at least contact you regarding making you familiar with local buildings and facilities?
Yes, especially with a lot of the stuff that's going on in the world today, we are doing that. We're getting blueprints to schools. The schools are actually letting us go in there and train. We do active shooter stuff in the schools. They actually taught in the recruit class, but we do that in our SWAT school.
Yep.
Any major business we think that could be a threat, they give us blueprints and let us train.
Good. I think that's important too. I would like everybody out there to realize that if you're a superintendent of a school district, if you're a BOCES district superintendent, for heaven's sakes, invite the SWAT team to become familiar with your building. Your buildings are changing all the time. Chemistry labs may be moved. Let them become familiar with your building. Let's take care of our children. If we arm the SWAT team with the information it goes a lot smoother.
It's safer both ways.
Okay. All right. Now, do you use handcuffs anymore on the SWAT team, or do you use the pull straps? You pull those
We usually do our flex cuffs. These are flexible plastic. You can shut them, and now they come with a key and just like a regular cuff.
Really?
Yes. They used to be able to cut them, but not anymore. Now you can actually use a key to cut them off.
Oh my, those are great.
These are great because they're a little bit cheaper. They're not as hard on the wrist as the metal cuffs. A little bit more freedom and movement.
Yep.
And it's just easier to stow them.
Yeah.
We don't need a special case for them.
Excellent. Lieutenant Manilescu, thank you very much for taking time on the show and sharing some of the information regarding our local SWAT team.
It's been my pleasure.
All right, wonderful.
Coming up on Safety and Awareness Today.
And what I've seen has been really kind of surprising. This is a wonderful complex. It's a great place for dirt bikes.
It's a pretty nice place here.
Hi, Cliff Crandall here with Eric Stolick, and I want to bring some information to you. It's a new book written by Eric Stolick, and I co-authored it, and it is Be Safe Physically and Mentally with the Crandall System. This new book is available, and it covers women's self-defense.
Self-defense with a cane.
That's right, and child abduction prevention.
As well as self-defense and escape techniques for teenagers.
All right, look for this book in your local bookstore, or you can stop at the American Martial Arts Institute to purchase your copy. Hi, come on along with me. We're going to talk with Dave Hinman about boat safety.
It's best to always check your New York State Boater's Guide and the rules and regulations for the particular lakes you're going to be on. But in general, the general rules are everybody on board, there should be at least one Coast Guard approved PFD for every participant on board.
Okay.
Kids 12 and unders must have one on all times.
Okay.
They're inexpensive and every boat should have quite a few of them.
All right,
okay?
that makes good sense.
That's one item. Another one is you should have proper safety equipment such as distress signals, distress flares, signaling devices such as horns, whistles, and so on that can be heard over a great distance in case there was any trouble. Got a mirror, so you can be able to signal if you had to.
Those things make a difference. And it doesn't take very much to be able to make sure your boat's outfitted with
Absolutely.
that. It's like a medical kit. You have a medical kit, and a medical kit's going to have certain things available to it.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't take long to make sure the boat has it.
All boats should have those.
All right, now when we're talking about running a boat, and we have so many people that do boating now, it is such a big activity. Some of the safety factors as far as turning off the engine, I mean, I know some of the serious injuries that have taken place with props.
Yeah.
So when anybody is around in the water near the boat, you should be turning off the
Absolutely.
engine.
Props should be shut off. You should make sure lines are stowed properly so they don't get caught in the props.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very important to know where they are, know where swimmers are when they're swimming. Have the proper gear for them to get in and out of the water.
All right.
And those are all very important considerations.
And we know that alcohol in boating doesn't mix, and that's definitely something that we should be aware of. Now, when we're talking about boating safety, you have to be a certain age, and you have to be able to run a boat. You have to have taken a course.
If you're 18 and over, you're allowed to operate a vessel. So anybody under the age of 18 has to take an approved boater safety course.
Okay.
Usually put on by the Power Squadron or some of the other agencies. Anybody driving a jet ski has to have a license nowadays.
Okay.
A lot of people don't realize that. You can't just get on those and take off.
No. And from the old days, there were people that abused it. That's what happens.
Yeah.
We're going to have more and more rules and regulations if people don't use common sense.
Absolutely.
Now, one of the other things in common sense that sneaks up on people that aren't always aware of is hypothermia. And there are some signs. You can have a skier start to have hypothermia.
Absolutely.
The lips turning blue, they're starting to shiver, they want to go back in the water.
Especially in the early season when the water's still really cold and people, you know, it's a nice sunny day, they could fall in cold water and it doesn't take long before hypothermia to set in.
That's right, especially if their head and their neck. Head and neck is a priority area. Head and neck under the water, you will lose heat very fast.
So the most important thing, get them out of the water, get them warm.
Get them warm.
Get them in the warm
Get something around their neck that keeps their neck warm, and especially the chest and the side of the chest, the upper body. Those are important factors. Having an anchor, having all the other safety things, and some communication system. We talked about that earlier. If you don't have your cell phone, having a two-way radio of some kind to be able to contact
Something to be able to communicate in, correct.
Excellent. And last but not least, you brought this one up, and that is check the weather before you go out on the lake.
Absolutely. I've lived on the lake all my life, and I've seen too many instances where storms roll in and there'll be boats trapped out there, and sailboats and things of that nature.
And it happens
it's
fast.
Not pretty. Yeah,
it's not pretty. I really appreciate you taking time with us. I was looking out there, I saw some swimmers. We've got to be aware of swimmers and other boats. But over here is this over here. What's this over here?
That's a dive flag, Cliff, from scuba divers.
Oh,
there
yes,
must
it
be a couple
is.
down there. The general rule with those is the divers are supposed to stay within 100 feet of that flag.
Okay.
And boaters are supposed to stay at least 100 feet away from that flag.
Away from that flag,
Yes.
and that's an important flag. I knew what that was, but I knew you knew because you run a dive master, PADI certified location over in Rome.
Yeah.
So it's been a pleasure. Thank you for
Okay.
taking time sharing your boats with us today. We've had a ball.
Have
Thanks.
a great day. Thank
All
you.
right,
Thanks,
you
Cliff.
bet.
Coming up on Safety and Awareness Today.
And what I've seen has been really kind of surprising. This is a wonderful complex. It's a great place for dirt bikes.
It's a pretty nice place here.
Safety and Awareness Today, brought to you in part by McDonald's. I'm loving it.
We are right now at Twister Valley Complex, and I have a chance to talk with Jason Fox. It's a pleasure to have you with us today on the show. Excellent. I'm doing excellent, and what I've seen has been really kind of surprising. This is a wonderful complex. It's a great place for dirt bikes.
It's a pretty nice place here. There's a lot of different tracks and different terrain for people to ride, and it's slowly getting a little more popular every day.
Yeah, literally. And this is just outside of Little Falls.
Yep.
And they have a beginner's area as well as advanced and all sorts of things. One of the things I wanted to talk about, and I got into this dirt biking to talk to some people about, we have a lot of kids that get into dirt biking. I mean, we're talking really small. How young do they start them now?
A lot of kids, you can start racing at 4.
Okay.
I started riding at 3. And I never started racing until I was 10.
All right.
You can start as young as you can ride the bike.
That's amazing. These are motorized bikes.
Yep.
All right. Now, one of the other things as far as safety gear, we're looking for kids at the minimal to have what?
Bare minimum is a helmet, some sort of eye protection, long pants, long shirt, some kind of boots and gloves.
Okay.
From there, you can go into actual riding gear, pants and jerseys, knee pads,
Chest gear.
chest protector. Yep.
All right. We're seeing right by the tower, we're seeing one young fella, Daniel, going over the main bump. They don't have any fear.
Not really. The younger they are, the less fear they have. They got a lot less to worry about as far as going to work. They just get up in the morning and keep living.
Not worrying about the family, just
Nope.
going for the whole gusto. This is Daniel Nettie. He's 11 years old. He's going into the 6th grade. And Daniel, you like dirt biking.
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do. I like that. What's probably the most exciting part about dirt biking you like, though?
Just having fun and doing all the jumps.
You like the jumps.
Yeah.
Getting in the air. All right. Do you have a lot of friends that dirt bike with you?
Yeah.
That's great. Now, do you do well in school?
Yeah.
You do your homework before you go out and practice?
Yep.
That's important. That's wonderful. You wear all the protective gear. Look at the way you take those turns and the way you do those jumps. That's really outstanding. Good luck, all right, in all of your riding. You're welcome. Now, when they go down, and I'm trying to squeeze in as much, if they go down, we want them to do what? We want them to...
The best bet is to stay loose and tuck and roll. You want to keep your arms in and keep your limbs from spreading out, and you got less chance of breaking things.
Yep, okay, because you've broke a couple of things because the
Every
limbs
limb.
were out. Okay, so you tuck it in, keep it in close. We don't want anybody hitting those parts. Stay
Nope.
safe.
Yep.
Excellent. When you leave the ground for these high jumps, you're actually losing seconds in the race, aren't you?
Depending on the track and the terrain, but for the most part, you want to stay on the ground as much as you can and get back on the ground as quick as you can to get traction and acceleration.
Excellent. Well, it sure is an exciting activity, and with all the safety gear, it's become a lot safer over the years.
Definitely.
Now there's the way to spend a quiet Sunday afternoon. Thanks to Jason, I know what dirt biking is like. I hope you got a feel for it, because I did. And it is a rush, especially when you get air.
Coming up on Safety and Awareness Today.
Yeah, there's not a lot of equipment, so you might as well spend the proper money on a good pair of shoes.
Get a good pair of shoes.
Whoa, we're here at the Don Edict Field at the New Hartford High School. We're going to talk to Linda Turner about some things you should be aware of regarding running.
Well, the first thing that anybody who's going to take up a new sport wants to do is check with their doctor.
Okay.
The second thing would be to, proper running or proper stretching, and you want to have the right shoes.
Yeah, there's
right
not a lot
clothing.
of equipment.
No, there's not a lot of
so
equipment.
You might as well spend the proper money on a good pair of shoes.
Get a good pair of shoes that are
I'm ready.
specifically for your feet.
I'm dressed. These are good.
That's good.
Okay.
Lots of different kinds of shoes out there on the market for the different types of feet and running styles.
Okay.
And you want to have a good warm up and stretch.
All right.
Want to make sure that you're hydrated.
All right, and
some
stay
of the
that
basics,
way.
yeah.
And don't jump into a 5-mile run.
You
just
need
if
to
you're
work
starting,
up gradually.
Right. Even if you're a good runner and you've taken the winter off, should you
You
start
want
a
to
little
start out
slow?
gradually. Our program starts in January for training for the Boilermaker, and we do 15 minutes on the track, but only 1 minute of it is running.
That's okay.
And by July, they're ready to run the 9.3 miles.
And then they're ready to go. Now,
Right.
Linda, who's with us here? Mike?
This is Mike Breich, and he is the cross-country coach for Utica College. He's also a teacher here in New Hartford, and he's done quite a bit of running and is a sports trainer. So.
All right.
I think the biggest thing you see with running injuries that you see is overuse injuries. People not doing the right things biomechanically, which can start with a ill-fitted foot, or not wearing the proper footwear, which Linda had talked about. A lot of people have a pronated foot, which means their feet turn in. If you were to watch yourself in a camera, you'd see your foot come down and actually land on the outside of your foot. You roll on the inside of your foot, and you stay on the inside of your foot, and your big toe is the last one that goes off the ground. So that's where you see the proper running mechanics. And then from there, you look at the rest of the kinetic chain, which would be your knees. Your arms should stay nice and relaxed. Head should be looking straight ahead. Those are your proper mechanics. And anytime you see people running and they're crossing their chest like this, or their heads moving side to side, that's all wasted energy. So you want to keep your shoulders loose, hands nice and relaxed, keep looking straight ahead, and you're good to go.
The bottom line is, if you're going to keep running and running right straight into the fall, keep those things in mind. And also, as far as fall running, Linda, what else should we look out for? You mentioned lighting earlier.
Oh yeah, there's lots of people that go out there and when it starts to get dark
earlier,
and they don't have the proper equipment on. People you can't see, the drivers can't see you, and or they're two abreast in the road. They need to go single file. It just as a driver, think of what you would want.
Yeah, it's
and
a courtesy.
follow the same thing. Yeah, exactly.
Plus the fact they don't want to get hit, and if they do get hit, the driver may be blamed, but that doesn't make it any easier to lay in the hospital.
No, and they got some really nice lights out there now that you can see from quite a distance that are flashing lights. Any of the stores have them.
Excellent. You don't have a lot of equipment in running, so invest that money in a good pair of shoes. It'll make a difference for your back, for your knees, for your ankles, and for your run. That's all on running. We're moving on to another segment right now. Right now we have the opportunity to talk to a code enforcement officer. His name is Joseph Booth. Thank you for being with us today.
Glad to be here.
And regarding code enforcement, it involves a great many things inside and outside of homes and apartments and buildings. What are your guidelines?
Basically, we're charged with enforcing the New York State Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code and all the local zoning ordinances.
All right, and then as well as your local zoning ordinances. Now, in that, a great deal of the handicap restrictions are involved.
Sure.
All right, and accessibility.
Sure.
And that involves plumbing, you said earlier?
Plumbing, mechanical, sprinkler systems.
Everything.
Construction, concrete.
And it gets bigger every year.
It gets bigger every year.
One of the things that you and I were talking about that I noticed, and you've got a word for it, is pool safety, the fact that pools during the summertime, and in many parts of our country, they have them year-round. What do they got to be aware of?
Well, the key word is safe, Cliff. Swimming, alarms, fences, and electricity. It's now a requirement to have alarms in any pool that holds more than 24 inches of water.
Right.
Fencing is always a requirement unless your local codes officer deems it not a requirement. And electricity. Electricity and water do not mix. Have your installation installed by a competent person and inspected by an independent electrical inspection agency.
Okay. And if the pool is 24 inches deep, from there on, you need to contact the codes officer.
Definitely.
Keep that in mind if you're buying one of those small pools for your home.